Hello everybody, Scotty the Trainer here. Thanks for joining me for Scotty the Trainer Tuesdays. I wanted to talk to you today about the idea of taking a step back before you go forward. Taking a step back before you go forward. Every time we talk about motivation or inspiration, it's always about setting goals, reaching for those goals, pressing towards those goals. Movement is good, even if it's small movement, as long as you're moving forward. Talk about that a lot. One of the things that we don't really deal with a ton, which we really should, is the necessity to drop back. Sometimes, before you can really launch forward, you got to be able to step back. We see it in sports all the time. The quarterback gets the ball, and what does he do? He drops back. And many times, he drops back 4, 5, 6 yards to toss the ball down the field to end up going 50, 60 yards. So many times, in order to go forward, you got to take a step back. Whenever we do something, if you think about it, if we put a plan together, we set a goal, and we start striving for that goal, and we don't get it, many times our first initial thought is we stop and we go, well, I failed at it, or I'm not supposed to have it because I tried, I went for it, I reached out for it, the plan didn't work, it blew up, I'm not supposed to have it. Let me stop for just a second here. Let me back up for one moment and let me address something else. Perhaps if we try something and it doesn't work, there's one school of thought, well, you tried it, it didn't work, you're not supposed to do it. Or perhaps the second school of thought that I could throw out there to you today is this. If you tried something, you put the plan together, you put it in motion and it didn't work, before you scrap the plan, take a step back and say, maybe there's a better plan to get where I want to be. A lot of times, we don't get our goals. We don't get our dreams and our visions and all the things that we want in life in one fell swoop. It takes several attempts, several opportunities, and several chances of trying, showing some try. And if you don't get in one way, perhaps step back, revamp the plan, and then go forward. No greater story shows us this than in the state of Alabama. Now, in Alabama, there is a city that erected a statue to an insect called the boll weevil. Look it up. It's crazy. The boll weevil. When you see it, it looks like some type of alien monster, but it's a small insect. And what the boll weevil does is it eats crops. Specifically, it eats cotton. So here's the story that the farmers in Alabama, a case in point in our history in America, and what has happened. So the farmers started planting at this particular time, planting cotton. And the first year, they were unable to harvest enough cotton to make any money because the boll weevil. The boll weevil ate and it destroyed the cotton. So the second year, many of the farms and the farmers had to mortgage and double mortgage their farms, their equipment, their homes, everything that they had, so that they would be able to farm and produce the crops so that they'd be able to make enough money to recoup what they had lost and to live. The second year, when it came time to harvest, you guessed it, the boll weevil again destroyed the crops. Now, you might say at that point in time, well, these people don't need to be farmers because they don't know how to conquer the boll weevil. They don't need to farm. Go get a job in construction. Drive a taxi. Do something else. Become an Uber driver. Whatever you need to do. But farming is definitely not your strong suit. However, the third year, somebody stopped, took a step back, and said, you know what? We're farmers. We're not going to stop farming. We're not going to lose our homes. We're not going to lose our families. We're not going to lose our farms. We're not going to lose all of our equipment. So somebody came up with the brilliant idea. Let's farm, but let's farm something that the boll weevil won't be able to eat. And so that third year, the farmers came up with a fantastic plan. They decided to farm something they had never done before. So they farmed peanuts. Guess what happened? That third year, they recouped all the losses. They farmed something that the boll weevil couldn't eat, couldn't destroy. They recouped enough money that they were able to pay off second mortgages that were on their farms and they were on their lands, and that their families thought they were going to have to file bankruptcy. They recouped it all in that third year and made a profit. And from that time forward, who was known at that time as cotton farmers and cotton crops, now they became peanut farmers. And they erected a statue to the boll weevil. Now listen, they didn't walk around and curse the boll weevil. Now I'm sure when they were losing at the time they did, these stinking bugs, these stinking insects, man, these things must have been sent straight from hell. We can't even get rid of them. Why are they destroying all of our stuff? But they didn't do that. They erected a monument, a statue to the boll weevil, and said, thank you, boll weevil. Because what you did was you thought you were going to destroy us, but you caused us to step back, look at our plan. And they still farmed, but they farmed something that was successful that year. That's what we have to do in life. I really believe on a daily basis, we have to take time to look at the situation where we are in life. Many of our failures are not possibly there for us to be an ending. Instead of putting a period as a punctuation mark in the sentence of your life, perhaps it's a comma. Because a period means stop. We're done talking this sentence. Let's move on to something else. But a comma says it's a pause. Let's step back and look. What decisions have you made financially? Maybe it's time to step back. What decisions have you made in your relationships? Possibly it's time to step back and start taking some type of inventory so that we can make a plan to go forward. Notice this. The boll weevil stayed right where he was, or she, whatever the boll weevil is. The boll weevil was still in the field. It still was looking for the crops. But the farmers altered their plan just enough that they were able to be wildly successful, more successful than they ever thought that they would be. And who would have thought to go down the road to farm peanuts if it were not for that enemy in the boll weevil? Your failures, my failures, our setbacks right now are not setbacks for us to stop, but a setback leaves a pathway for a comeback. Take a moment, step back, look at your life. What changes in the plan need to happen? Just like those farmers, I still believe no matter what the news says, no matter what the world says, no matter what happens every day, no matter what your bank account says, no matter what the accountant says, I still believe somehow, some way, our best days lie just ahead. I'm Scotty the Trainer, And as always, my friends, that's how I see it.